I'm a businesswoman,
retired military, retired school counselor and educator,
CFO of a global manufacturing company.
I'm a philanthropist.
I'm a Plain Township trustee.
I'm an attorney in commercial management. I'm a New Albany City Council member.
A neonatal nurse practitioner.
New Albany City Councilwoman.
Work as a life coach.
An artist and a cat lady.
I'm a woman of God.
I love to knit. I love to cook.
An avid member of too many book clubs.
I'm a leader in my school community.
I love all things artsy, and I love connecting and communicating.
I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a best friend, and I am a volunteer.
I am a student, an athlete, a dancer.
A mother, wife, friend, and a tennis lover.
I love to dance. I am an aspiring musician.
I am a positive psychology junkie.
I'm ordained in the Episcopal Church, and I co-founded an organization that grows fresh produce for the food pantry.
My favorite outdoor activity is running and walking on the walking paths.
And I enjoy hanging out with my friends and family.
And I like to play cards and have cocktails with my friends.
My family, work, and communities inspire me to give back to Central Ohio.
I volunteer on many boards here in the community.
And I love this community because of our park system. I love spending time outdoors.
I love living in New Albany because of the sense of community that comes from all the people that are here living, working, and playing together.
I enjoy living here because I find the people of Ohio to be kind and generous.
If it wasn't for the amazing New Albany community, I probably wouldn't be here today.
I'm Wendy Blanco, a proud Latina.
My name is Allison.
I'm Sharon.
I'm Jana Kroom.
My name is Arlene.
My name is Laura.
I'm Rhonda.
I'm Trish Ravelli.
I'm Ophelia Brinstein.
I'm Jill Beckett-Hill.
My name is Jen.
I'm Andrea Wiltrout.
My name is Debbie Kalinowski.
My name is Catherine.
I'm Alice.
I'm Carrie Millard.
My name is Katie Williams.
My name is Robin Williams.
My name is Marlene Brisk.
We are the women of New Albany.
Good evening and welcome to Empower. I'm Katie Allen.
And my name is Josh Poland. We're part of the City of New Albany's communications and marketing team, and we are so very excited to be here this evening. This is a first of its kind event for our community.
We were told that we were supposed to stay right here, by the way, Josh.
Yeah,
so
that's what we were told.
I
but
know.
No,
Josh, don't. Literally, they said...
It's been a long day of work.
These seats are just for women, so back up here,
fair enough.
over here.
Fair enough.
Tonight is a sold-out event.
It's amazing.
And I'll admit, I have yet to go to an event like this for women that isn't filled to capacity. And it made me think, what is it about a night like tonight that really draws us, that we gravitate towards? I've often interviewed women afterwards, and I hear the consistent message, I came because I wanted to be motivated. I came because I wanted to be inspired. Tonight, this event, it made me look at things in a different way. I personally love being a part of a team. I've, in fact, forced myself onto Josh Poland's team here in the
Happy to have you.
New Albany. I spent 17 years working in sports television. I was always covering a game live on the field, a part of the team atmosphere. But it was a former female professional athlete, now CEO of a pro sports team, that gave me the best piece of advice. She said that we're all climbing the ladder in some aspect of our life. And no matter where you are on that ladder or in your climb, don't forget to stop, turn around, and help that woman behind you. It resonated so much for me because I've needed help along the way. And who better to help you than a woman who's maybe been in your shoes? Tonight, my hope for all of you is that you hear something that really resonates for you.
Such an inspiring quote, and that's what this evening is all about. We're here to celebrate our community and the women who inspire us. We have so many people to thank who made tonight possible. First, we'd like to thank New Albany City Council for their support of both the Idea Implementation Panel and this event. In particular, we'd like to thank council members Marlene Brisk and Andrea Wiltrout. If you two could stand up. Both Marlene and Andrea have been instrumental in making tonight possible. We'd also like to thank our Idea Implementation Panel. So if we have any panel members, if you wouldn't mind standing up to be recognized. Great. Thank you so much. If you're not familiar with the IDEA Implementation Panel, IDEA stands for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility. City Council started the IDEA Implementation Panel back in 2020 as a way to make New Albany a more inclusive and welcoming environment for everyone. And this panel has done some amazing things. I don't know if you attended the Juneteenth celebration or Diwali celebration. Events like that and what we're going to enjoy tonight are all a direct result of that panel. So thank you once again for all of the incredible work you do for this community.
We'd also like to thank Courtney Kerrigan from Raising the Bar Performance Group. Courtney, please stand up. Courtney has also been instrumental from the very start of the IDEA Implementation Panel. Thank you, Courtney.
We should also mention that we have State Representative Beryl Brown Pickle Antonio joining us this evening. If you wouldn't mind standing to be recognized. Thank you for being here.
We also have Plain Township trustees Jill Beckett-Hill and Carrie Millard joining us this evening. Please stand up. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for taking part in the video.
And we'd like to thank the members of the New Albany Plain Local Schools who are here, Superintendent Michael Sawyers, board members and city staff, school staff.
And last but not least, we'd like to thank Ballet Met for providing discounted tickets to their upcoming Asian Voices performances. I am so excited about that and for us to be able to take advantage of that special discount.
So we have a wonderful evening planned. Yeah, let's hear it for Ballet Met. Thank you. We have a wonderful evening planned with some inspiring panelists, and we also have our moderator, Angela Ann from 10 TV, who is en route from work. She's working hard, and she'll be here as soon as she can make it. Hopefully, she's driving safely.
We're going to start with where it's most important, the food, right? We're going to start with dinner here. Not the most important, but, you know, we all need to be fed. As you enjoy your meal tonight with those around you, we encourage you to talk with one another about a woman that's really inspired you. Enjoy dinner, and we'll see you back here in just a short little bit. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Sloan Spalding here. Thank you, everyone, for coming to tonight's event. This is a great evening for everyone to come together and really lift up and celebrate the power of women here in New Albany. I'd like to thank our friends at the IDEA Implementation Panel for everything they've done over the last couple of years to really highlight and celebrate the diversity they have right here in our community. I've been inspired by this same woman for the last 27 years. My wife, Jennifer, has inspired me every day to be a better person, a better leader, a better father, a better husband. And what I have learned from her is the power of love. We had a chance to meet in law school, and along that journey together, I've been so impressed and inspired by her strength, her wisdom, her commitment to her community, and her undevoted love for her family. My 3 boys and I wake up every day knowing that we are going to be better people because of her love for us.
Hi, my name's Sarah Fiesel-Aklilu, and I'm a New Albany resident. When I think of women who inspire me, I think of women who have helped me through challenging times, difficult decisions with their resolve, wisdom, humor, and candor. I have been reminded by those women time and time again that I am capable of more than I know and to never sacrifice my strengths to make others feel stronger. My best friend was the most amazing cheerleader possible. She inspired me in so many different ways to really live my best life, to try to have no regrets, to be grateful for my health, and to not take things too seriously. New Albany is filled with so many amazing, strong, intelligent women, and I am so happy to have found my people, my squad, the people that will support me through thick and thin, and I am just so proud to be a part of this strong community of women here in New Albany.
My name is Chris Sewell, and I am the Community Development Regional Manager for Meta. I want to say congratulations, and I'm excited to be here to celebrate all the women in diversity in New Albany. One thing that I learned from women that inspires me is my mom. You know, growing up in a single-parent household, seeing her raise 3 kids, I think the most important thing I got to see from her was the love and passion that she had in terms of making her kids feel special every day. And as I look at this New Albany community and all the diversity that I see every day, the one thing I can say that I'm inspired by is, you know, being able to put my love, my passion, in everything that I do. You know, the great thing of working at Meta is a good opportunity to work with special women every day who make up our New Albany data center. Most importantly, the love and passion they put behind the work that they do, ensuring that this community is served to the best of their abilities and seeing them flourish each and every day. So I'm excited to be a part of this, and I'm excited to say congratulations to all the women that make up this amazing community.
Hi, my name is Haley Dieter, and I own Haley Gallery and Dieter Design. My influencer has always been women who defy the odds. There's a phrase that came to light on the Senate floor that said, "Nevertheless, she persisted." And when I heard that, it was kind of the summation of my life. And I clung to that because in many phases of my life, I have persisted even when I was told that I was being selfish, that I was being unreasonable, that I didn't know what I was talking about. I left a marriage with 2 young children and moved from Chicago to Ohio. I left a company in Ohio that I left Chicago for, and I left there because it was a toxic work environment, and I decided to pursue my passion, which is art, and I opened up Haley Gallery. 3 months later, there was a recession. Several years later, there was COVID, which almost took me as well as my business. But nevertheless, I persisted, and I think I'm a better person for it.
Hi, I'm Rachita Chandak. I'm a mother of 3. And I'm new to New Albany. We moved here a couple of years ago from New Jersey. I'm an attorney by profession and now a stay-at-home mom. I have 2 daughters and they both inspire me. I've learned so much from their journeys and I continue to learn from them. But I'd like to share 3 things I've learned today. First, be true to yourself and not someone else's idea of what's perfect. As an immigrant daughter, I grew up always thinking I had to check all the boxes and fit into a perfect mold. But for my daughters, I learned that perfect is overrated. And there's a beautiful calm in just finding your own unique path. Second, keep going and don't give up. Life can be rough, but it's important to keep going, keep picking yourself up, keep putting yourself out there. And nothing inspires me more than seeing my daughters do this, even if it's outside their comfort zone. And the most important thing that I've learned from my daughters is that regardless of your age, your education, and your experience, you always have something new to learn. And also, you always have something to teach.
That one got me. You always have something new to learn, and you always have something to teach. So simple, yet so true in so many ways. Well, now it is time to bring up our panelists. And before we introduce them, we need to introduce you to our moderator, Angela Ann.
That's right. I have the honor of introducing Angela. Angela is a 7-time Emmy Award-winning journalist from WBNS 10 TV, where she's worked since 2000. She's watching me. She has 3 B's in life: be good, be kind, and be respectful. Angela is a proud wife and a mom to an 11-year-old. She's also known as Grangela to 2 grandkids. Angela is also my former coworker and a very dear friend. So thank you so much for being here. And I was not supposed to sit on this furniture, but it was so inviting, I had to try it out. Your chair is so comfortable, you're going to love it. Take it away, Angela.
Thank you, Josh. Isn't he awesome? And thank you, Katie. I just realized I already messed up the first cue. I was supposed to stand next to him, kind of like back in the old days, but that's okay. So, hi, how are we today? Yeah? Tonight, I'm still getting used to the new time change for my hours, so I really don't know which end is up. But how awesome is our panel right here tonight? I know they have family in the crowd. And I just love that some of you brought your family and your children here, because I think it's so important that what we're talking about today gets passed on for generations to come. A lot of this was kind of taught to us, I think, in secret, right? And hushed and say, you know, don't make waves, but be strong. Well, how do you do that? And real quick, before I introduce our panel here tonight, I told my daughter every day, remember the 3 B's, and I told her I put this on the card. And she said, well, there's another B, Mom. I said, what's that? You always tell me to be confident. I was like, oh, I gotta change that. 4 Bs. We're gonna do 4 Bs. Okay, so you all have these cards in front of you, so I'm not gonna read what they say, but Dr. Lauren, we just call her Dr. Lauren. She's a pediatrician here in town, so Lauren, say hi to everyone. We also have Maria Alvarado. She's an attorney, born and raised in Puerto Rico. I had a chance to meet these ladies. Let me tell you, they are not this quiet. We're going to get them going in just a little bit, especially Maria from Puerto Rico. Sue Porter. Who knows Sue Porter, right? We all know Sue Porter, Ballet Met Executive Director. Thank you so much for what you do and bring to this community and just such beautiful ballets, too. Thank you. And, of course, we have Dr. Chelsea Moreland. We stole her from dessert to do a quick interview with her on 10 TV, but her son said he ate that first. And he's 6? Smart kid, smart kid. Okay, so we do have some questions that we wanted to ask you, and I know that the guests here were asked to name a woman who inspires them. So I'm gonna ask you, and I'll start with you, Lauren. Like, tell us about something you learned from a woman who inspires you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, this crowd, this event, this is amazing, this is energizing, and I'm so honored to be here and sitting in such amazing company. So thank you for including me here tonight. And when I think about a woman who inspires me, I don't think that's quite possible, because I think there are so many women in my life that have inspired me. And really what I think about is women in my family and different generations of women in my family. So I want to share a little bit about 3 generations of women who have really taught me so much. So my grandmother, my Grandy, grew up in California, and she grew up in a time where many women did not pursue higher levels of education. And it was extremely important to her and to her family to stay educated. And she, as a woman in the 1950s, went to Stanford, went to college. She actually met my grandfather there and eloped. And then at the end of the day, they both went back to their fraternity and sorority houses because they couldn't live together. She had my mom during her junior year of college and went back to finish her degree. And as a mom raising a young family, again, many, many years ago, she even went on to earn a graduate degree. So she went on and earned a master's degree. So education is something that I have learned from my grandmother. And actually, we were asked to bring pictures, and her picture got put right up here next to me, which is of her on a beach. I mean, I think in her teens, which is just, I love that picture. It sits on my dresser at home.
Should we pass it around?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, please, enjoy.
Going off the cuff.
My mom is the next generation that I want to talk about. My mom taught me really the importance of community and volunteering. And I actually thought she worked at my elementary school growing up because she was there so often volunteering. Turns out she didn't. She was room parent, she was PTO president, she was my Girl Scout leader, she was my brother's Boy Scout leader. She was somebody who was always giving back. And when we ultimately made it through our public school system, she found another organization, an organization also close to my heart, National Council of Jewish Women, that she is still incredibly involved in today. Don't ask her about plastic straws, because she could talk to you for about 3 hours about how bad they are for our environment. So she taught me the importance of volunteering. And lastly, I want to talk, I have 4 wonderful children who are all sitting in the back of the room. I have 3 boys and 1 daughter, and because this is a women empowerment, I am going to focus on my daughter, although there's wonderful things about my sons that I could go on and on about. I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for this later, but my daughter has taught me the importance of optimism and risk-taking. And she is somebody who, every day she comes home from school, and I say, Sammy, how was your day? And every single day, it was great. It was great. And she is somebody who is willing to try anything, you know, as we, as parents, are trying to find what activity our children want to enjoy and where are they going to find their passion. At one point many years ago, somebody said, oh, I'm signing up my child for volleyball. Do you think Sammy will want to do it? I said, oh, I'll ask her. And she said, I said, Sammy, your friend is signing up for volleyball. Do you want to do it? And she said, oh, yeah, sure, of course. But what's volleyball? Okay. So needless to say, I've learned a lot from generations of women. So.
Sammy, stand up so everyone can see who she's talking about. How did Mom do? You're supposed to say, great. Great. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
She does not play volleyball, by the way.
Chelsea, I'll skip over to you. Tell us something you learned.
So, a woman who inspired me pretty early on, and her influence has been felt throughout the rest of my life, I would say actually was my 7th grade English teacher. She was one of those teachers that everyone kind of loved, but also didn't like at the same time, because she had high expectations, and she set the bar higher than any other teacher, and when you met it, she raised it higher. But she fiercely loved every student that she had. And so she taught me the duality of womanhood, that I could fiercely love and nurture people, but I could also have fierce expectations, and I didn't have to have one or the other. And she has been my inspiration literally since I met her, so.
I love that saying, duality of womanhood. I'm gonna write that one down. That's fantastic, thank you. Sue?
Oh, well, I've had lots of wonderful mentors over the years, but there is really somebody who I think exemplifies you never know where you're going to find a mentor. I was an attorney working in town when one of my partners came in my office and said, hey, can you do immigration work? I said, yeah, I guess. Well, my wife is on the Ballet Met board, and they need to bring in an artistic director from out of the country. Can you help? I said yes. So I get involved in this organization, and I meet the woman who founded Ballet Met, and her name is Nancy Strauss. Nancy Strauss was a woman in this community who thought we needed dance. And we needed professional dance, and then from there we needed world-class dance. Her husband was a lawyer in town, and she met me and was like, oh, maybe you should get involved in the Ballet Met board. I was like, no, I'm not an arts person. I never danced. I don't know anything about the ballet. I really know. She's like, well, why don't you let me take you to a ballet sometime? And I went, I was like, well, I guess it's okay, but I still don't need to be on the board. And eventually I go on this board, and of all the boards I ever sat on within this community, it was one I couldn't leave. And then when I decided that I had to probably take a break from the law firm after 30 years working in the same place, I ended up becoming the executive director. But it was Nancy's commitment to the community. She has been with this organization. She's still on the board today. We are in our 46th season. She figured out how to get money at that time from Battelle to found this. But she has a sense of community that I hope we can all exemplify. So she's had a profound impact, and she still calls me at least once a week to make sure that we're on the right path, and is always the first one to volunteer for when we need something.
Isn't that what a board member's supposed to do, right?
Right.
And I bet we could ask Sue to show us a plie, and she would nail it, right? After this many years, you would. She's like, no.
No more.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so Marie, you moved here how many years ago to New Albany?
I would say it's 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. So you guys came because of your husband's job. Yeah. You're raising a 3-year-old son. Yeah. Talk about a woman who's inspired you and what you learned.
And I know most people say their moms, but my mom is my absolute hero in life. And she taught me that it's never too late to start something. She got married very young to a doctor, and it was like this idea that her life was set. She married someone who was going to keep her financially stable. But my dad made some financial mistakes when she already had 3 kids, we were gonna lose our house, and she decided that was not gonna happen. She was not gonna let that happen, and she built her own business cooking. She went to culinary school at night, and I remember when she came home from school, we would always wait for her to watch a movie, and she was so tired, but she would sit in there, and 2 minutes into the movie, she was already gone, and we were like, Mom, we were waiting for you to watch this movie. And she now has a successful business. She does destination weddings. She doesn't speak English, but she does destination weddings, and people absolutely love her and connect with her through her food. She does her tasting at her house, so she just serves them these amazing meals, not speaking their language, but they speak through another kind of channel, just sharing passion through food. And she's taught me never too late to start, and just when you're passionate about something, it's gonna show. So, yeah.
And how special, like talk about the impact it had on you as a child, watching your mom work so hard during the day, and I know so many of you can relate, right? And you're exhausted, but your child wants you to do something with you, and you just pull out that last piece of energy, that thread that's about to go unravel. But she did that for you, and you knew that. Like, it lasted with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's empowerment, isn't it? That's great. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. How much time do we have, Abby? Okay. Okay, show of hands. As women, how many of you have come across a barrier or an obstacle to get something done that you wanted done? Show of hands. If your hand's not up, you're lying. You're lying. I'm just kidding. I asked Chelsea this in the back room, and I said, give me an example of a moment that you felt that there was some kind of obstacle, a barrier to your success. And she talked about this moment trying to get a bank loan. Can you share that with the crowd? Because I loved what you said that got you through it.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, I started a business in 2021. So I decided to leave corporate medicine and to start my own private practice, which it's not a very common thing anymore. Most people do not have private practices in healthcare. And definitely, they are not typically women who are founding these practices and leading them. And so going through the process of creating a business plan and going in to get financing, and the amount of pushback and questions that I went through in that process was really eye-opening for me. And it was the moment that I really realized exactly how many barriers stood in the way for women to succeed financially, for women to succeed in the workplace, and to succeed in business and financially. And so that was the moment that, for me, failure became not an option. Being successful in that space was necessary to make sure that other women saw that it was possible and that we continue to break down those barriers.
So when I met my husband when we were both living in Cincinnati, and unfortunately the timing was not great because he was in his last year of graduate school there, and I was in my first year of my residency. So we spent 2 years traveling up I-71 back and forth, which was a lot of gas mileage, but we made it. And at the end of my residency, I knew I would be applying for jobs here in Columbus. And I applied to a job, went back, had a second interview, thought it was a slam dunk because at that point I had achieved, I had set goals, I had earned good grades, I had gotten the residency I wanted, I had, always achieved what I wanted to achieve. And I was on call at the hospital during my last year of residency, and I got a call from the head of the practice. And just the way he said hello, I thought, oh, this is not going to be a great conversation. And he said, I'm really sorry. There was somebody who was an internal candidate who we've decided to hire instead of you. And at that point in my life, I had never had such a blow. And I thought, oh, I'm never going to get to Columbus. I'm going to be, a pediatrician without a practice. And as it turns out, I personally believe that, things do happen for a reason. And I ended up finding a practice that I started at in 2010, my very first job out of residency. and I'm still there today. And I am so thankful that I found that practice because it's been a gift. And every day I enjoy going to work. I enjoy my partners. I enjoy my patients that I get to see. And I feel like that first not getting that job was absolutely a door that opened up for me.
Sue, what about you? You know, going from the legal world into ballet mets, board directors, talk about some of the barriers you face.
Well, let me start on the legal part because, it's interesting. We've got 2 lawyers here on the show. How many other lawyers do we have in the room?
A lot.
Okay, a lot. So that's the most amazing thing to me because, again, I don't necessarily want to date myself, but we did have a conversation at dinner where I was like, oh my gosh, how old am I now? But when I was coming out of law school, the reason I came to Columbus is because the law firm sent a woman to interview people. And she was a partner in a law firm. I had never met a woman who was a partner in a law firm. And I had never met another woman that a firm sent out to interview law students. It just didn't happen when I was looking at this. It's like, oh, well, I'll go to Columbus. And then I went to a law firm, and there was a clerk class, right? And during your second year of law school, you go and clerk. And there were 7 of us. There were 6 guys, and there was me. And we all got offers. I think 5 of us came to the firm. And I didn't understand that there just were so few women. And then I decided I wanted to do labor and employment law. That was interesting, right? But at that time, it was union work. And then they said, well, women can't do this work. You had to be like a union buster, right? You had to be on the strike line, and you had to know to do all those things. I was like, yeah, but it's interesting, and the world's changing. And so I ended up doing that. I became a partner. But I will tell you, for 10 years, I was the only woman partner who was a labor and employment attorney in this very large firm. But we learned to grow. And the most exciting thing is how many lawyers we have now in this room, in this community, and how exciting. One of my mentees is now the managing partner of a local office of that law firm. So we are making progress. We really are.
And that's really how it spreads, right? I mean, you have to lead by example when you do things like that.
Yeah, and I think when I'm thinking back at what you guys are saying, but I think sometimes we put ourselves barriers. We don't dare to do that. I've never seen someone do it, then maybe it's not for me. You only felt encouraged after you saw someone on your shoes. And going through my pregnancy during the pandemic and having to work remotely with a baby because there was no daycare, I dared to apply for a new job in my company with a newborn. And the leaders that I encountered through my way never saw me having a baby at home with no daycare as an obstacle for me to do or achieve whatever I wanted to do. I showed them I was capable of doing it. I was capable of delivering the results, and they trusted me. And I feel so blessed that I encounter people that didn't think of me as being a mom as an obstacle at all. Just more motivation to be better, to wake up at 5 a.m. because I knew my son would wake up later, so kind of like just move around my schedule to make sure I was able to do both things and never doubt that I could do it. I was gonna do it. There was never a question in my mind. So I think there are some barriers, obviously, that we have to encounter in life, but when we believe in ourselves and we just show up, people have to take into account, like, they can't just say, no, you're not allowed to be here. I feel like that's the first barrier we have to just run through.
And wasn't there like a study, I've seen this, thank you very much. A study that showed, like, if there's a job, a woman will try to hit every single criteria for that job, be like, oh, I don't know if I hit it, I'm not gonna apply. And this is no offense against men, but men will be like, oh yeah, I can do that. Where's the application, right? Why is that? You know, we are talking about women empowerment, but why are women still, our colleagues, we still have that, I'm not sure, I don't know, and we have to check every box.
Well, I think the whole concept of imposter syndrome, I mean, we were talking about it, like, are they sure they wanted us to be on the panel tonight? I don't know. I think they picked the wrong people. But that whole concept of imposter syndrome, that I'm not good enough, they're going to see through me, I'm not who they really want to talk to, no one's going to believe what I have to say, I think is really real. And I'm sure when you started in your practice like I did, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm joining partners who have been pediatricians for 30 plus years, who are nearing the end of retirement. And I thought, why are their patients going to believe me? I didn't have kids at the time. I had 3 years of training in residency. But I think we just, as women, have to gain that confidence and realize that, no, we worked hard, we studied, we can do it, show up, and I truly believe fake it till you make it. If you say anything with confidence, they'll believe you, even if it doesn't make sense.
That's true. That's absolutely how I explain how I can now be in the arts. Because I can say it with confidence that the arts are incredible, and I believe this with all my heart, that they are important for our community. And that it is so important. But I will tell you, I've spent a lot of the last 9 years saying, oh yeah, I know all about that ballet.
Meantime, she's mentally Googling it in her head, like, where did I see that? Love it.
Thank God for the editing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You were going to say something.
So I was just going to add to that. I think that another reason that we do that to ourselves is because of the messages that we get from society. I think by and large, society tells us that we have to be twice as good. We have to work twice as hard. We have to make exceptions. We have to go with the status quo in order to get through the door. But then unfortunately, what many people find is that they do the status quo to get through the door, and then they never leave status quo. Status quo becomes their life, and they live the rest of that life trying to figure out, how do I get back to what I really wanted and what I really believed in? So I think a part of that is us falsely believing the narratives that we're told about ourselves and not really empowering ourselves and putting ourselves around women who are uplifting us, and even around men who are supporting and coming alongside of us to counteract that messaging that we're hearing on a regular basis that we're not enough. Because when you asked that question earlier, like, did you have that moment? I honestly had to ask myself, did I have that moment? But it's because I grew up with men who told me I can do whatever I want to do. I grew up with men who affirmed me all the time. So there was never a question of, am I good enough? The question was, would they recognize it?
Hear, hear. Question for you ladies, and it kind of goes off this whole thing about barriers and work-life balance. I don't know what that even looks like. Does anyone know what that looks like? But I'm curious what you guys think, and what you guys maybe think is the work from home. I had a friend, and she and her husband each had a choice, who wants to work from home? And she's like, tag, you're it. Because they had kids. And after about 6 months of working from home during the pandemic, he was like, how do you do it? And so for her, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, she felt like the shift of the work from home kind of empowered her a little bit more in that family unit and made her, what she does day in, day out, just seemed a little bit more, I don't know, just, that zhuzh. I don't know, do you guys feel that? Do you feel like the work from home kind of helped balance things out a little bit? Not so much? Who worked from home? Anyone work from home?
I would say at least it gives me the flexibility to be there for my kids' stuff, which if I would have to drive to an office and come back and do this and do that, I wouldn't have. And I would rather spend that time that you spend talking about coffee with your coworkers and doing things that are going to benefit my family. I'm more productive at work. I am more there for my family. But obviously you're like 24/7 two things, because you can't turn off work completely when you're working from home. There's always that time where you're like in bed and you're, oh, should I check my emails? What is my calendar going to look like tomorrow? And then you're spiraling into an hour of actually working from your bed on your phone. So it is a struggle. I feel like if your partner is also work at home, it helps out a little bit more. But yeah, it's the struggle of work-life balance. I don't know what that is.
Give me an example of how you guys empower other women around you. Do you have a catchphrase? Do you like just say, come on, let's go do a girls trip because I just feel like we need it? What's a go-to hack, if you will?
I'll take that then.
Yeah, go.
I have a friend who's a stay-at-home mom now after being like a working person for her whole life. So she's struggling with, now I have time. What am I supposed to do? I'm picking up the kids, like who am I, and all those things. And I was like, I have too many days off. Let's go do a spa day. Let's just empower ourselves, just do something not for our kids. We're not gonna go on a play date. That's for them. We're just gonna go on a spa day, and we're gonna do adult things and talk about adult things, and just take time for ourselves. Sometimes we just save our PTO days for like this big vacation or doing something. Just take it off and sleep off, not talk to your kids. Take time and do something that really fills your bucket. And I think that was that for us, just date night with spa.
Not feel guilty about it either, right? I mean, do it with the whole mind and body. Sue, you're going to say something.
I'll take it a little bit different. So I'm very lucky at Ballet Met that our senior team is predominantly women. Right, we have 8 of us, 6 of them are women, a variety of ages, a variety of backgrounds. But it is incredible, and we all now can support each other. And you talk about being a mom, and then at the other end of that, 3 of us are taking care of elderly, our parents, right? So you've got that on both sides, and we're always there for each other. I think the pandemic in this way was a really good thing because we learned we could work in different environments. We learned that it was okay to Zoom. Some people like it, some people don't, but there are options. I also sit on a national board with executive directors of ballets across the country, and they're all now talking, like so many of the other business leaders, okay, we're gonna make everybody come back. Do they have to sit there? And I will tell you, I personally don't think that's the answer. There are some, our teachers who have to be in the studio, they have to be there. That's where their work is. Other people don't. But now we've got options, and if we can empower people to say we can do what we need to do, what does the job require? I think there's so many more options. I like to go down to my office. Downtown, it's great. But that isn't for everybody, and we should be able to accommodate all those things.
I definitely agree. I think that the pandemic taught us so much about what was possible, and to even start asking for what was possible. When the pandemic happened, I actually was working in community health, so I hadn't started the business yet. And it's so funny, because when you talk about working from home, most people don't think of doctors working from home. That was never even really something people thought about. But for 8 months, I had the privilege of working from home. My son was little, and so I enjoyed having the ability to actually be a part of the day. But then figuring out how to balance work and then him playing in the background with cartoons and I'm trying to be on a telehealth visit was a little crazy. But what I took from that when I started the business, really I had to think about what kind of employer did I want to be? And I wanted to be the type of employer that empowered women by making sure that what they needed was accessible in their workplace. And so the approach that I took to help empower women in this season is that all of our employees are salaried. I didn't want my nurses or my MA to worry about could they pay their bills if they had to stay home with a sick child. Because when they come to work, they give me their all. So I'm gonna give them my all as well. And I trust them to do it. And I don't need to worry about what days they miss. And then the other part of that too is giving them that flexibility. If they do need to work from home with a sick kid and they're fine answering phone calls, sure, go do it. And so really just being a promoter of those type of benefits at work and not seeing it as a deficit or that this person's going to be, draining our bottom line because they have a need to be home with their child.
I love that support, don't you? I mean, honestly, I think that if there was support like that even 5-10 years ago, before the pandemic, I think that there would be so many different perspectives of generations of women knowing what they can do without feeling that mental guilt. So, do you want to add anything more?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that I have done to empower myself in my career is I work part-time. And this was, again, as somebody, I think, as many of us are in this group here, we're achievers. We want to be the top, be the best, and earn the most, and see the most patients. And it was a very conscious decision that I made to say, you know what? There are other things in life that are more important. And being here with my family, being around my community, being able to volunteer, to be in the schools, that for me was very empowering to say that, and also to be with partners in my work who supported that decision and who said, okay, you're gonna work part-time and that's okay and we're all gonna support each other. So, and I think the other thing, you know, as I think about empowering people as a pediatrician, and I know as a family practice doctor, and you know, all of us in our lives, we have so many interactions with people that are so meaningful and give us the opportunity to empower them. And if I could share one short story about a specific patient of mine who I met when I first started practicing back in 2010, and she was a happy-go-lucky elementary-age child, as many elementary-age kids are, kind of not self-aware yet. And I became very close with her and her family, and as she went through adolescence, adolescence was really hard for her, and she struggled a lot, both physically and emotionally, and I had frequent visits with her about physiologic complaints and about mental health and depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts and hospitalizations and sending her to specialists. And she was one of those people who I'm sure many of you can relate. When you see them on your schedule, you think, oh, okay, I needed to take a deep breath. I didn't know if I was helping her. And I thought, that was really the hardest part for me, was she kept coming back and I felt like I wasn't doing anything. But I was there and we talked, and every time we tried to come up with a solution and pivot and try something different. And she ultimately graduated from my practice, and one day I was sitting in my office and one of my nurses came back and said, you have somebody here to see you. And this young lady came back, and she had graduated college, and she was moving out of Columbus to go to graduate school, and she gave me a letter. And if it's okay, I brought the letter because I wanted to read this, because I felt like when I think of empowering people, this is what I think of. So I'm just going to read it. She said, "Dear Dr. Barlev, I wanted to stop by one last time before moving to see you. I wanted to thank you for being an amazing doctor. You have truly changed my life, and I couldn't thank you enough for all that you have done for my family and I. You always went above and beyond to help me. I truly appreciate everything you've done, and I took every piece of advice you gave me to heart. Thank you for your support and patience. I hope to grow up to be the beautiful person you said you saw all those years ago. Thank you."
I love that. That's empowerment, when you can actually see and feel the change that you made in someone else.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
I know.
Thank
and
you.
I save all the letters that people give to me, but this was just holds a special place in my heart.
So I want to be mindful of our time, and I'm sorry, Josh, we might go a little bit over since you're not my producer anymore. You can't tell me to stop, or my co-anchor. But I will end with this question. What fulfills you? You think about that too. What fulfills you? And if you don't have an answer right now, that's okay, because I think after tonight, a lot of us will be thinking about some of these answers we heard tonight. But what fulfills you? While they think about it, I'll tell you a funny story. So now I'm on this day shift or whatever, and I get to take my daughter to school. And I walked her into school the other day. She's like, "What are you doing?" Because I got out of the car. I'm like, "I'm walking you in." She's like, "Oh, great." So I literally have a picture that I'm going to post of her 5 feet behind me. I was like, this is not happening, but it fulfilled me, because that is what my life is so important to me about. So what fulfills each of you?
Yeah, and I'll take that. I was telling the group earlier that yesterday we went to the park, and my son and my husband were running and running and running, and it was a beautiful day out. The weather was perfect, and I was just sitting on a bench and watching them, and I went back home, and I told my husband, we had such a fun time, and he was like, "You didn't do anything." I was running behind and it was like, but that just filled my bucket. It was just lovely. So yeah, just family time, and just being able to live in a community where family is so important and so cherished. You go to restaurants here and they accommodate families so much. Like, you don't feel like you're a burden to anyone. And that's what I love about New Albany. Like, you just feel that ease, and you can be who you are with your family, with your 3-year-old craziness.
That's community right there,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, it's unity. Fantastic. Yes. Who has another bucket they want to fill and share?
I would say what fills me is having the opportunity to do a little bit of everything that I love every day. This morning, I was able to take my son to the bus stop. And, again, when we think about medicine, there were many years that I had to be up and out of the house long before any child would be at school. And I remember wondering, would I have the privilege and luxury of being able to be the mom who dropped off their child every day or who picked their child up on their own, and being able to just be at the bus stop with my son, being able to come home while the sun is still out and not only have taken care of patients that day, but also be able to be home to cook and watch my husband and my son do homework together, and then cuddle up on the couch and watch Netflix. Having that full day schedule and having all the things I love every day is what fulfills me.
You're here. That's beautiful. Sue?
That's amazing. So I guess I would say there's two things. One, I have a wonderful daughter who's now a junior at Ohio State, proud graduate of the New Albany school system from the time she was kindergarten all the way. And she really, she got the foundation of the community here. She loves being close, though I don't see her very much anymore, but she's about ready to go out and experience the world, which is great.
Is she 5 feet behind you too?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That part doesn't change.
I know, that does, okay.
It really doesn't. But the other thing I will say is when I sit at the back of the theater, and I'll talk about this last year, we had 25 performances of the Nutcracker down at the Ohio. And I sat at the back of the theater and I was like, oh my gosh, we've made it for another year. We've had 30,000 people come and visit us. But these dancers have had the ability to earn and show their art to our community, and we're going to be able to do other things. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty amazing life, and I'm lucky to be doing it.
I love it, Sue. Thank you. Thank you. Lauren, you want to round us out?
Sure. So the other day I was cleaning off our desk in the kitchen, which is the dumping ground for all paperwork that comes home from the schools, and again, 4 kids, so every week it's like this high. And I saved some things, guys, but many of it goes to recycling. But I do look at it all first. So I was going through and I came across this stack of papers from Day 100, which if you haven't had a child at the ELC, it is the most spectacular day of all. They dress up as 100-year-olds and everything is themed around being the number 100. And one of my sons, I found a paper, and the writing prompt or the drawing prompt was, what would you do if you had $100? And he wrote, I would donate to people in need. And it was actually bonate to people in Ned, but I deciphered it.
That one you saved.
Yeah,
that one you saved.
That I saved. So, what you do, it rubs off, even if you don't realize that it is. So.
Wasn't that lovely? I love it. And I think there was one thing, when we all met before tonight, we all were asked, 3 things that we value. And I think every single one of us said community. And so as we look around this room, this is the community that New Albany has built. This is the community that we will continue to build, I think, for our future generations, boys and girls, truly. But I will end with this, and I will not paraphrase it, I'll just steal it right from Columbus School for Girls. They have a banner, and it just says, she will know her power. And I love that phrase, because from a 3-year-old to an 18-year-old, those are the most precious time where we can teach our girls what empowerment really looks like. Let's give it up for our panelists one more time. Hello.
Let's hear it for our moderator, Angeline, and our panelists one more time, please. Truly thank you to all of you that came out tonight. We really, really hope you enjoy the evening.
And before we leave, I would like for us to recognize the city staff members who are responsible for putting this on. So let's give a round of applause to Adrian Jolly, Abby Brooks, and Chelsea Nichols, helped to set things up tonight. And a big thank you also goes out to my teammates, Katie Allen for her work, and Sam Fahmy, who's been walking around taking photos. Sam was a big help, especially did a lot of the heavy lifting with the visual aspects of tonight. So he designed this wonderful logo, the graphics, and worked on the videos for us. So thank you, Sam. Thank you also to the estate for hosting us tonight. Thank you for the dinner. And thank you to the OHD crew over here to my left for producing tonight's show.
And before you leave, make sure you stop back at the welcome table. We have really great flyers for you on the idea implementation panel, future events coming up. We want to make sure you know everything that's happening. Thanks again for coming. Drive safe tonight.
Thank you.